All right, we're back for another Free Agent Friday. Today I've got Nicholas Van Nortwick with me. Thanks for joining me, Nicholas.
Yeah, absolutely. No worries. Thanks for having me. It's a great opportunity to be on.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I like your background here, so this is going to be fun. So
Yeah, absolutely.
let's get started with where you went to college.
Yeah, so I went to the University of Kansas here in Lawrence, Kansas, Rock Chalk, all that good stuff.
What was your degree in?
Yeah, so I got my degree in sport management. I also got a minor in business. Um, so yeah, pretty just sport based.
Did you do any internships during your college days?
Yeah, so actually our last semester at KU is just a full internship.
Okay.
You don't really go to class. You do some like work on the side that's also attached, but I spent my whole last semester with the Swope Rangers here in Kansas City. They've now changed to Sporting 2, I believe, but
Okay.
it's the USL team of Sporting Kansas City.
What kind of stuff did you do with them?
Yeah, so that's kind of one of my cooler experiences because starting in minor leagues, you get to touch on every little thing of sports. So you get to do the operations, you get to do the marketing, you get to do
Get to take
the
the trash out. You get
yeah,
to yeah.
exactly. So that was definitely a really good starting experience. You get to do everything sort of like I mentioned. You get to sort of specialize in things that you wouldn't normally get to do. So like I wrote the game notes every week for the USL, and those are things that technically more than likely get done by full-time staff at most places. But I was writing like the matchups, like stories for the games and stuff like that, and then sending that directly to the USL. So it was definitely an experience where you get to do a lot more than you would within a big club because they have much more staff touching on everything.
At what point did you realize you wanted to get into sports?
Yeah. So it was probably early on in my college career. I started off in business and I was like sitting in a few business classes. And I'm like, man, this just doesn't resonate with me. It just doesn't hit home as much as I'd like. And then I took a sport management like 101 class just to see if I'd be interested. And the professor, I don't believe she's at KU anymore, but she like really sort of touched on some things that I was really looking for in a career.
Well, I mean, I think that's key is find something that you're going to enjoy.
Yeah,
Is
absolutely.
is there like a specific area in the sports world that you have as an ideal spot to land?
Yeah, so I would say I'd have a few areas. I really like game day operations, stuff like that. Events is something I think I exceed very well at, as well as marketing. I've done a lot of social media for a different bunch of different teams I went to. Like I helped with the Swope Instagram. I did U.S. Soccer's referee page, Twitter and Facebook and all that.
Oh,
So I've sort of been able to touch on everything. So it's kind of hard to specialize because I'm just I enjoy doing all the different things within sports.
on the event side, would it be more on the operational side or the sales side?
It'd probably be more operational based.
Okay.
That's sort of more where my background's based. Operation and like planning and then implementation during the event.
Okay. So like ops, marketing, even maybe
Yeah,
community relation type stuff.
yeah, exactly. Stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's great. So where did you go? Where was your first, gig out of college?
Yeah, so after that internship, I actually got extended on to finish the season with Swope Park. I sort of made myself an integral part of the season. So I went ahead and finished the season with them as a paid intern, I guess you would call it. Um, and we went to the USL final, unfortunately lost, but
Oh,
it was a cool experience. Got to go to Louisville, be a part of the whole process. It was really cool.
nice.
Um, After that, I went to US Soccer for a 6 month associateship. It's basically a full time job, but it's only a 6 month term.
Okay.
So I was there within the referee department. Um, Basically, a lot of my job there was planning events, putting them on, and then traveling across the country and doing it, as well as dealing with the a million, it's not a million, but it's a ton of referees throughout the United States and dealing with all their issues, all their problems with registration, stuff like that. So that was also a cool experience because the referee program is kind of small. So you get to touch on a bunch of different things while being part of, obviously, US Soccer is a massive organization. So it was kind of cool to touch on a whole bunch of different things while being in such a big scope.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's U.S. Soccer's U.S. Soccer Federation is big, so
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty massive. It's wild seeing everything come together for like the big DA events I'd be a part of. It's like months of planning, and then it all comes together perfectly with teams from all across the country coming and all that stuff.
so how about after you left the Federation, where'd you go next?
Yeah, so I came back here to Kansas City, and I worked within the retail team of Sporting Kansas City. I basically was the head retail like associate, I guess. I did a lot of operational based stuff, so like setting up the stadiums for every game day, stuff like that, as well as being like a game day leader. So I would lead basically half the stadium or staff in the stadium and tell them like lead that retail location, tell them what to do, all that good stuff. I would also work during the week within like doing retail operations, so like getting in new shipments, putting them in the correct store, stuff like that.
Do you have to manage like online orders or anything like that, or was that done by somebody else?
So we don't have too much of an online order presence. It's more of like a pre-game order is how
Okay.
you would order online. So you'd be like, I want to buy this for the game, and then we'd set it aside, put your order on it, and then you'd pick it up at the game day.
Okay.
Because I think most MLS retail sales are done through the actual MLS site.
That's what I thought.
So I don't think most teams have like the agency to sell online by themselves.
And then, so tell me about, your next and, most recent position.
Yeah. So I was in a company here in Kansas City called Tickets for Less. It's basically a ticket reseller on the secondary market. It's a mostly local based company, but they obviously did nationwide stuff. So, but most of the main focus while I was there from basically the start of the Chief season to unfortunately May when COVID and all that stuff hit. So that sort of took a big hit on the secondary market. It's sort of hard to sell tickets when there's no events happening.
A little bit.
Yeah. So that was a lot more customer service based and stuff like that. So it's sort of like if you go to StubHub, you just buy the tickets online, all that good stuff. But you're not actively selling too often. It's more the consumers come to you, but it's a lot more like, hey, where are my tickets? Stuff like that.
Right. Yeah. Customer service. What kind of skills do you think you bring to your next position? What are your biggest assets that you bring?
Yeah, absolutely. I think work ethics, number one. I think that's sort of something you need within sports. Everybody who worked in sports has done that like 50, 60, 70-hour week. Nobody like gets excited about it, but it's sort of par for the course.
It is what it is.
Experience, especially on like that game week or that event week or something where just everything goes wrong and you have to just sort of sit there for however long and make it work. On top of that, sort of something I've mentioned throughout this is I've had the chance to touch on so many different assets of sports and so many different sections of the sporting world that I think I bring experience not everybody has. So like if you had an internship at like a big team to start and you only were a marketing intern, you only have marketing experience. You've only touched the marketing world. Well, I could say I've done sales, I've done marketing, I've done events, I've done operations, I've done pretty much everything possible within the sporting world. And I think that's something that really sets me apart.
How about on the downside? What's the weakness that you have? Where do you need to improve?
Something I've sort of tried to work on is delegating more. I'm definitely somebody who likes to be in charge of what I'm doing and sort of put my stamp on it. So something I've tried to get better at is being able to delegate and trust other people to get the work done in a way that I would see fit.
Yeah, sometimes that's a challenge. It took me a while to be able to delegate good. So
it really is when you feel like it's a reflection on you, your work.
Exactly.
So like, even if it's somebody else is doing it, it still comes down to you if you're the leader. So
and you want it to be the best.
Exactly.
And, yeah. So it took me a while. So keep working on that. How would you define success?
So I think the success comes from a multitude of factors. First, your personal success, hitting your own goals, hitting your own expectations for yourself. But then there's obviously like external success. So like every organization, every team has goals that they need to hit. So I think success is going above and beyond those goals. I'm definitely somebody who wants to do something the next level up. I don't want to just hit, like, say we want to sell 500,000, I want to sell 600,000. I always want to be in a position where we're exceeding our goals, not just being in a position where we're okay just hitting it.
Yeah, no, that's good. Now, this is the fun one that I like, is to just get, give us some fun facts or something personal about
Okay.
Nick.
So I don't know how fun of a fact this is. This is something that usually gets the people going. I've actually never been to a concert before, despite working in events and all that. All my
Never been to a
life.
concert?
No, people usually look at me like I have three eyes when I say that. It's just never come up.
Do you like music?
Yeah, I'm actually a big music fan, so it's pretty interesting. I've just never felt the need to like pay a bunch of money and go see it.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, that's usually definitely something people look at me weird for.
Well, I mean, people always want to go to sporting events, and when you're in the business, it doesn't have the same flair. Like the problem I have is if I go to a game, I am analyzing the business side of it.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, how many people are here? All right, their per cap on concessions is this. Their per caps on merch. I'm trying to figure out their gross revenue for the game.
Yeah, like that line is way too long. Somebody's got to deal with that.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. I feel you on that.
Well, no, I mean, I think it's good. You're open to, positions in, ops, marketing, it sounds like. Are you willing to relocate? I know you're in Kansas City. I take it. Is that where you're from?
Yes, I'm from here originally. I've lived in Denver as well, and then I went to Chicago for U.S. soccer. So okay. I'm definitely open to relocating, assuming it's just about finding the right fit, obviously.
Last question, is soccer kind of your sport? I see, you've worked, with soccer clubs. Is that kind of your favorite?
So it's definitely my passion. It's sort of where I've grind my teeth. I played all my life. I still play semi-regularly today.
Okay.
Sort of the sport I have the most passion for, especially with the United States. I see it as such a growing market. It's something that still hasn't peaked where, like, say you go to the NFL, you already have the market share of everybody. Like, everybody already cares. It's sort of hard to continue growing. But in MLS, you can see it growing year after year after year. And the same with the USL, USL2, even the indoor leagues. It's just constantly trying to find that new market group.
Well, Nick, I want to thank you for joining me today, and we'll do what we can to help you get some exposure here.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for the experience. I really appreciate this. I think this is a really cool idea to help all of us sort of affected by this weird job market currently.